Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Hope everyone is having an amazing Monday. Oh, Wednesday, Lord. Where did I get Monday from? Mm. I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae. This is another episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends. So, hey, friends. Hope you're having a good one. This is going to be a really good message. Um, Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me get some people in here. But yeah, so today we're gonna have a good conversation. Great conversation. Um, and I want you to share with 5 people, if you're on Facebook, or send this live to 5 people, and let's have a great conversation. So today's conversation is definitely going to be a good one. Good morning to whoever is watching over there, or either on Facebook or YouTube. Good morning. Sorry, just inviting some more people, and we are ready. If I do, because I am expecting a call for a delivery. So if I do end up muting for a minute, it is because I'm trying to take and make sure I get my mattress. Uh, I'm finally making my house into a home. So my guest room is going to have now a bed. My guests have been sleeping on the air mattress. Okay, I'm not the best, but I also didn't promise to buy the mattress. My sister did, so we got the mattress because we got a bed frame. Someone from Tulsa Remote actually left Tulsa, sad, and they had given me like the bed frame and stuff. So I was like, yo, let's just get this mattress. So the mattress is supposed to come today anywhere between 6 and 10, and I've been up since 5:30, hoping that I'll get some kind of notification. But hopefully they don't call during our live, and I know that they won't do the delivery during our live, so that's a good part. All right, so today I want to talk about unlearning those narratives. If you've been following me for a while, you have heard me. My messaging, it hasn't shifted, but I'm kind of making it a little bit more clear. Helping people to unlearn the narrative that no longer serve them or align with their values, and giving them the opportunity to start to redefine their life based off of what they desire, right? And so that is what today's conversation is going to be about. What I'm going to walk you through is an activity that all of us should do, because there's a lot of narratives that have been fed to us over the years. So things like the American dream, that was a narrative that was fed to many of us. And a lot of us went out there and we followed the American dream, and many people in our community is not living the American dream. And so when I realized this, that I was like, wait, I'm living someone else's narrative. I'm living someone else's life, the life that they told me. And not that everything that they told me is wrong. There's some things that was really right, things that I still do and I hold on to this day. But there are some narratives that do not align. And it does not align with the life that I desire. There are so many people, and I'm saying this also as an educator, as a college educator. I have encountered more students than I would like that have sat in my classes and they don't want to be there. And when you really sit and you talk to them, and you ask them, why are you here? Well, my mom told me I have to be this, I have to be this, I have to go to school for this. My dad told me, like all these expectations, and it's great. If you have a desire for that, awesome. Your parents are cultivating that, they're tapping into that, they're supporting that. But that's not everyone's story. Some people are literally being told, you're going to school for fill in the blank, and it doesn't matter if you have an interest, a desire, or even the ability to do it. This is why we see more students. I've seen more students sit in my class and waste money because they don't want to be there. And if they don't want to be there, they're not going to participate. They're going to, and believe it or not, many of them revert back to childlike behavior. They go right back to acting like they were in second and third grade, throwing papers and stuff like that. They're being a huge distraction. I've had to kick out a fair share of adults from my classrooms over the years, and I've been teaching adults since 2010. So I'm not saying this because I'm just saying it. I'm saying it because I witnessed it. And I witnessed it and I've seen so many people sit and try to force themselves into a box that they don't belong in, a box that they have no desire. And when they do step out and say, okay, maybe I should try something on my own or try and pursue the endeavors that I have a desire for, they don't have that encouragement. So this is the reason why that I became even more passionate and started offering my services as a coach to help people to understand what those things are. So this message is really more so in support of that. I want to provide you an activity that you can do to start getting this mindset together so that you can get to the life that you truly desire. Okay. And the other thing that I want to say is that this is really the premise of this came from Romans 12:2. Romans 12:2 is the scripture that I remember. Um, I remember years ago, sitting on the side of my bed. And this is at the be like maybe like 6, 7 months after my weight loss journey, and I'm seeing the changes in my life, not just in my body, but in my mindset and my spiritual walk. And I remember I just cried out to God, and I was like, "What is this? Like, why does this feel different? Why does this feel doesn't feel like any of the other attempts that I've ever made in my life?" Being on Weight Watchers, drinking Slim Fast, having my meals prepped. None of that ever felt the same way that I did when I entered that relationship with God in 2012. And when I just literally heard again, I didn't know the Bible from front to back. So I didn't know scriptures, and I still don't. Some days I'm like, Holy Spirit, tell me what scripture to go to. And I heard Romans 12, and I went straight to Romans 12. And when I read verse 2, that's when it was like, that's what it is. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And that is what a lot of us, we have to unlearn so that we don't continue to conform to the patterns of the world. A lot of those narratives are patterns of the world. So these are three things that you can start doing to help you get focused and start to understand whether or not you are on your path or you are on someone else's version of your life. So the first thing I want you to do is identify the narratives that you have been living, right? In order for us to have accountability, we need to be accountable. What life have I been living? And so I want you to ask yourself, who told me that this is the life I should live? And I mean, this is not to point fingers, this is not to place blame, but we got to get to the root of it. Who told me that this is the life that I'm supposed to live? Who told me this? And once you have that and you start there, so you can journal that or get your book, start journaling. Who told me that this is the life? And you're going to probably start hearing or certain things gonna start coming up. It's gonna be some family things, something from your parents, maybe your grandparents had an influence on your life as well, aunts and uncles, godparents. Influence comes from many different places. So the first place is you typically your family, and then we have our friends, and then we have society. So the things that people are seeing on social media, the things that they're reading in news articles and journals, those are part of society. So when you start to journal these things out, you can journal them in regards to what did someone tell me about, and you can put them in categories. And I wish I had like a board. I need to get a board. But I want you to like, what does that life look like as far as career, as far as the definition of success, love, being a parent, a spouse, all of these different things. I want you to put those things down. Who told me that this is the life that I should live? And you can put them in those all different categories, right? So that's the first thing that I want you to start to do. Because in order for us to unlearn the narratives, we have to identify the narratives that we are learning, that we are living. In order for you to unlearn the narrative, you have to identify the narrative that you are living. And so you have to have that really self reflective conversation with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself too. Like, call a spade a spade. So the second thing I want you to do is I want you to give yourself permission to choose something different. it's very difficult to unlearn. And a lot of us are having this conversation in our 30s, our 40s, and even 50s. Some people even in their 60s. So now you have to give yourself permission. So I, in 2015, this was the first time that I ever did a similar activity to this. And I did this with my life coach at the time. And so she was one of those people that was living the life that I had desired. She was out there traveling. When I first started working with her, she was traveling throughout the United States, going to different cities in the States. Then she ended up down in South Pacific, and then she ended up over in New England, New Zealand, and Australia. And the last time that I had ever spoke to her or seen anything about her, she was in New Zealand, married with children, living her best life. Those are the types of things. And she was a young woman, I think probably 2 years younger than me, from New York. And I remember that conversation where she shared, like, her parents were like, what? This is, we're from New York. We belong here. You got your apartment. You got your job. Like, you got to work. You got to get that 401k. How's everybody 401k doing now? Okay. Just have to add that real quick because again, there's no one way to do something. And when we allow people to give themselves permission to choose differently, that's what I want people to do. I want you to give yourself permission to choose a different path. I chose a different path. Everything that I have done in the last 10 years has taken me off the path. Now, there's been moments I have put myself back on a path because certain paths are just safe, right? So, if you go out there and get a job, as long as you do your job, you show up, you have a chance of keeping that job. Unless it's 2025 and, depending on where you work, we're seeing sectors are just, folding left and right because of the government. But prior to that, we all knew you get a job, you can ride out. Now you go get a city job, you get a state job, you get a government job, you're typically a little bit more confident because you're like, yeah, I can get this job, I can keep this job because that's the narrative that we were told. And again, this is not a wrong narrative. But when you ask those people, talk to those people, how do you feel? Are you happy? Many people are not happy with the life that they're currently living. They're only living it because it's what they are used to. So now they meet a person like me, and I'm like, no, if you want to choose different, then choose different. You have that choice. It's in the palm of your hands. So you have to give yourself permission to say, yes, I want this. I want the type of life that I really, really desire. I see it. I know that it's possible because I either have met other people or have watched other people and they're doing it. And I know it's possible. Like, you just got to get to a point where you ask yourself, is this possible? Forget about the realities of your reality. Is it possible? Once you can admit that it is possible, then that is giving yourself permission to move forward. If you keep getting stuck, it's possible, but it's not possible because then that's where you're not believing in yourself. You're not believing that these actual things are possible. You're still living in it with a little bit of doubt, and you're still getting stuck into the narratives that you were raised in and that you were living and thriving in. And you're not even thriving, you're just living and you're going through the motions. I meet more people now who are in great professions that people would die for, and they are miserable. Remember, I said a lot of those college students that I met while I was teaching in them colleges, a lot of them did complete the program. And they did go on to become nurses and become medical assistants. I worked with a lot of healthcare. And what I'm telling you, and that's the wrong field to play that game with, because you have people's lives on the line. So imagine someone who doesn't want to be there, who does not want to do this. Yes, they're making all this money and they hate what they do. Do you really think they're going to give you the excellent patient care? They're not. I'm afraid of them people because anything that can piss you off, you can go ahead and do my blood pressure and you can have the cuff going and tightening up and you don't care because you don't want to be here. Like, we got to be really mindful of how these things are impacting other people. It's just because it's your life doesn't mean that it's not impacting anyone else. It's impacting somebody, whether it's on the job, your family, your friends. It's impacting. So this is why also, because people want the happy version of you. People want the best version of you. Trust me, I've had to send many messages when I started to heal to family and friends. And I just had to apologize. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I was angry all the time, mad about everything. Any little thing could piss me off, and I was going off the handle. And I had to apologize because I realized I was angry at the wrong people. I was crashing out because I was unhappy with the life that I was living. And once I got control of that, it was just like, okay, I see the difference in how I present myself, how I show up. I'm showing up more calm, more pleasant. I understand why people want to be around Miss Inspiration. But I'm telling you, Tanisha Williams, many people did not want to be around her because she would crash out 0 to 100 in 2.2 seconds without a bat of the eye. And that's not healthy. But let's get back to this. So I want you to give yourself permission to choose differently. I want you to know it's okay to pivot. It's okay to make a change, whether it's your career, it's your mindset. It is okay. Many times it is necessary for you to pivot. You need to pivot in many situations. Okay. I don't want you to want to be like anyone else. You are not a carbon copy of your mother. You're not a carbon copy of your grandmother. You are not a carbon copy of anyone. You are a one of one. That's it. So you should be able to walk that path that's going to be different. No parent should have 7 kids and all 7 of those kids come out the same way. All 7 of those kids. Now again, if they have a desire, they loved it from the time that they was 2 years old, then yes, that's something that they're purposed to do. But all 7 should not have a duplicate of the same lifestyle. That should not be possible. Somebody has to go the other direction. Someone has to go the path that no one else in the family has ever explored. And I have realized I gave myself permission to be that person to explore. I'm gonna take it. Who quits their job just to quit their job because God said it's time to go, and you just like I'm gonna go, and I don't know what tomorrow's gonna promise, but God said to quit, and I did that. If you follow anything that I have done, this is not normal stuff. People don't leave New York City, right? Hey, Bola, hey, are you the ones up here watching? Hey, Bola, right? You're the one that's gonna leave New York City and go to the most random Midwest slash Southern state that none of us probably ever had a desire to go. Do you not realize that is going a different path? And even if it's not, because I was speaking to someone, I actually got to respond to their email, but someone had asked me, and they was just like, how do you convince yourself to move forward, like to take that path? And I said, I just have to remind myself of how unhappy I was on that other path. Like when you get to that point, you got to get to a point where you're sick of you, right? You're sick of you, you're sick of the lifestyle, you're just sick of it. And you're just like, I know what the outcome of this is going to be, right? I know what the outcome of this is going to be. It's not going to be, oh my God, why are my eyes watering? Because I'm not crying. It's not going to be any different. You keep doing the same thing over and over. It's not going to be any different. So why not take a chance and say, let me just explore over here. Let me just see, right? You want to see how you feel. We have been told, don't worry about how your gut feels. Don't worry about how your body responds to certain environments. Don't worry about that. And this is why a lot of people get in a lot of trouble or in uncomfortable situations because we don't listen to our bodies. If you listen to your body, it is going to either scream anxiety, it's going to scream misery, it might have pain, depression. It's going to speak in so many different ways. And you got to get to that point where you realize, I don't think I want this anymore. I want to see how my body feels. Remind yourself that you want and deserve. Yes, you have to believe that. And that was the first thing, right? I mean, that was the second thing, giving yourself permission. You got to give yourself permission to deserve that, to want that. Because I'm telling you, you have these conversations with anyone else, especially anyone who is not in that frequency ooh, they're gonna try to talk you off the ledge because it's you're bringing them. Like, wait, this is gonna be uncomfortable for me because you're not here. See, what did I say earlier? Our actions do have an impact on other people's lives, whether we want to admit that or not. So when you make those uncomfortable changes, it's going to make them uncomfortable because now their process, their daily routines are going to be shifted, right? Me moving shifted everyone who was in my personal one-on-one life, who was in New York, their entire life has shifted. Why? Because I'm not there. Do you see how that works? When you go out here and do something that you truly love, it's going to impact them. If you stay and live the life that you have been living the way that they told you, you're going to impact them. Like my sister told me a couple of weeks ago, she was like, I needed for you to go to Oklahoma because you were so miserable here, which made being around you miserable. Wow. Sometimes you need to hear a reality like that to make sense of like, so no matter what, whatever actions I take is gonna have an impact on them. In her case, she's like, you being here, complaining, crying about New York. Oh my gosh, I hate it. And people, the traffic. She was like, nobody wants to be. I don't want to hear that. So go to Oklahoma and see if that works for you. And guess what? We see each other more now because she's like, wow, you really like you embrace this. This is your happy place. Oh, that's what my niece told me yesterday. Listen to your body when you're in certain environments. Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's the one thing that many people ignore. And Bola, since you're here, I think about my body response when I went to that crazy place that we met at. And I remember when I was waiting for that first interview and they had me waiting, my body was like, we gotta go. We gotta go. I'm not supposed to be here. My body was not happy, it was not pleased, it was not feeling peaceful, it was not feeling settled there. But then I remember when I went to in 2018, I had taught at this amazing, awesome women's workforce program to help women to get administrative roles called Grace Institute in New York. um, I remember when I went there, I just felt so comfortable. I remember walking into the classroom that ended up being my classroom. And I remember saying, this is my room. This is my room. Like my body felt calm. It felt at ease. I felt I could just be myself. My body was like, yes, this is where you need to go. You need to be here. And I want people to also pay attention to that. We're gonna talk about that again. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow, don't forget, tomorrow is Throwback Thursday. So you're gonna get one of my amazing messages that I have been recording since 2015. So just stay tuned for Throwback Thursday tomorrow. So the third thing, because we are 23 minutes and we are not on the third thing. I want you to also now. So again, let's recap real quick. So the first thing that you're going to do is identify the narratives that you have been living, and start asking yourself, who told me that I should live this way? You can break them up into small groups. You can put them into categories. Career. What does your definition of success means? What does love? What does parenthood? What does marriage look like for you? Friendships, right? You can break them into different categories and start to identify all of these different narratives that you have been living. And now you're going to go through a process of saying, okay, do I believe in this? No. Do I, so you're going to put them into category. Do I believe this or do I not? And certain things you're still exploring, which is totally fine. Second thing is give yourself permission to live a different life, right? Accept that you want something different, accept that you deserve it, and that you're going to now say yes to living this new life that you truly desire. The third thing that you're going to do is create a vision that matches who you are becoming. Because you may not be it now, but your mindset is there. So you're becoming that. And so I want you to unlearn those narratives and I want you to start replacing them with what is necessary, right? So you have to start having those conversations. So, I think about I think the location, relocating for me was really one of those things. The narrative that was instilled in me is that New York is the best place. You know, in New York, everyone wants to be there. No one wants to leave. If you was born here, you have to die here. Those are the narratives that I had, that was instilled in me. Despite all of the things that I was seeing in the spirit, again, I do see things spiritually. So I'm looking at the city, and I'm like, the city is dark, it's gloomy. There's like a negative energy around it. Many people are blind, and it's just not resonating for me. My spirit doesn't feel safe here. I'm constantly angry. I'm anxious. And to be that person, to be in this inspiration, to be that positive light, and you are around a city that has, Brooklyn alone has over 2 million people. And we have 5 boroughs. That's a lot of energy. And a lot of that energy is so negative. They're unhappy. They cannot afford the rent. They cannot afford to live life. So you're sitting around all of these Debbie Downers, and you're trying to figure out, like, is this really what my life is going to be? Do I really believe this? Do I really want to get stuck into the hustle and bustle, or do I want to try something different? Let me go, explore. So that's when I started to spend. I don't know if you guys remember, 2022, I spent a month in Myrtle Beach, right? I always said, hey, I want to experience living on a beach in a condo, having access to the water when I want to. And I had went. And that was me exploring. I was me giving myself the opportunity to try something. I can't live and function in this chaos. The chaos is driving me crazy. So let me come over here and let me try something different. I noticed Myrtle Beach is not a place that I want to live. I would definitely love to be there, maybe in the off season, because I don't want to be there during the high season. And I just started to create that vision. And guess what? It didn't work out. And then I went down to Florida. I went to Orlando for 2.5 weeks in 2021. Okay, this is cool. Maybe I'm not really sure. Property taxes is extremely high. And then earlier this year, I went down to Medellin for what ended up being 5 weeks. Supposed to have been 4. So I'm still in that pursuit of like, where's my forever home, right? That's where I'm at. I'm not even focusing on the next 5 years. Like, when I'm ready to retire, where am I going? Because I can't stay in New York. That was all that I remember saying to myself in 2021 when I started that journey. But you can go ahead. This is why I say, when you are doing things like this, a vision board becomes a little bit more realistic, because now a lot of people that I have witnessed, and this is not everyone, but I have witnessed people, even as recent as last year, they would sit and look at what everybody else is putting on their vision board. Oh, I like that. And now they're going to find the same picture. It's not even a vision that they want. When I did that vision board for that activity, I remember I probably had like 10 pictures, if even 10. And they were like, wow, like, you don't have a lot of pictures. I said, because I have a very clear vision of what I want my life to look like. And once you realize I need a lot of money, because I got a lot of student loan debt. So either God is going to cancel it, or the government is going to cancel it. That's the only reason why. Because I'm like, all right, Lord, you give me this, I'm going to pay that off, put the money to my retirement. But on an everyday basis, I realized I don't need I need a job, $185,000 a year. I don't need that. Not for my everyday life, not the life that I desire. I want that soft life. I want to be able to wake up the same way I wake up now. Do you guys know that since I started this, so this is our second full week of Morning Inspiration. I did the 21-day challenge. Since I started that, I've been waking up. Oops, hold on. I told y'all they might be calling. Hold on. That was them. They'll be here in 10 minutes and we'll be done in 10 minutes. But yeah, so I really just, what was I saying before? Okay, let me just continue my thought, what I was saying. But yeah, I want you to get to that point where you just start to visualize this. And once you visualize, you start to have a clear picture. once you start to realize, what do I need? And I think that was the one thing that helped me in my decision to move into Oklahoma. I didn't have an attachment. I didn't, so I became very, I wasn't, I became, I guess, vague in how I was telling God in alignment. So I wasn't focusing on, I need to be near the beach, because that's going to limit where I'm going to go. Right. So once you start putting those kind of indicators, but I did say I want to have access to nature. Right. Because nature wants, someone told me, right? Oh, yeah, you're a water baby. You love the water. That's what someone told me. So I embody that. Yes, I love the water. No, I just need nature. Give me some beautiful green grass that I can walk in. Do you know how pleasing walking in clean grass is? That is an amazing thing. And I remember the last time I tried to walk in grass in Prospect Park in Brooklyn. Yo, let me tell you, I went to Prospect Park. This is long before I thought about it. It was in 2022. And I went there and I was walking in the grass and I was like, nah, let me put my shoes on. Because I didn't know if I was walking with dog poop or human poop. I didn't know what was going on. And so I just realized, going back to that, I just need nature. So I put this list together, say, okay, God, I just need some place that I have access to outside. I need to have access to just nature, being able to feel and see the sun, whether I see the sunrise, I see the sunset, and I just put those type of, I want some place that it's going to be calm, it's going to be peaceful. That has a lot of places, right? Just from that list, because I realized if I became too specified too much, then I'm gonna be like, well, God's gonna be like, well, then it sounds like Florida. You might as well just go on to Florida, because that's not where I'm telling you to go, but that's where you're putting these limitations. So once I did that, when I got to Oklahoma and I came to visit in August of 2023, I remember I felt like my spirit just felt, oh, girl, that felt good. Right? So when you're creating this vision, I want you to visualize, or I just want you to start going out there and just start doing new different things. If you have the means and you can go out and you can explore, go to different cities and start to put yourself out there to navigate and connect with those people who are doing those different things, absolutely. And if not, like I said, you can always find those communities on social media. There's so many Facebook groups. There are so many spaces that you can just sit and you can just soak up and get inspired, so that you can say, okay, you know what? I know this is possible. I see this a lot with the people that are doing van life. Many of them talk about this, how they had to, it was stages, right? Stages of how they had to get there. And that's a beautiful thing, because it's like you're seeing all of these old habits and mindsets are melting away. And then you're being renewed with the new mindsets. And so sometimes it's not going to be an immediate change. But as long as you're doing the work here to unlearn those narratives, that's what's most important. And that's what I want you to start to do. So I just really wanted to tap into this, because one is it kind of gives you an understanding of the work that I do and how I help people. I want people to find the life that they truly desire. And honestly, I want them to have the life that God desires for them. The more that we get closer to what God wants for us, the more peace that we're going to have. And I do believe that, because I continue to just get grounded in that, and I'm just like, all right, God, I trust you. I believe you. I know that you're going to make sure I'm always okay. That's where I want people to be. So if you find yourself in this space of you unsure of the next steps, you're not, you're looking for that aha moment, right? I know that this is what my life is supposed to be, or you need help to navigate what is those narratives that you're trying to sort out. I do encourage you to join Inspirational Trailblazers. Right now, I am not opening up one-on-one coaching, but my Trailblazers, you can find the link right down there. If you're on Facebook, the link that's in the pinned comment, that link will take you there. It is a community for like-minded individuals who are also in pursuit of devising the lifestyle that's meant just for them. And that is the space. It is a monthly subscription, and we do different workshops. This month, we're really going to tap into this topic, right? And so you are welcome to join. I'm going to open it up to men as well. But I want us to just have a space where we can have these conversations. We can sit and explore this on a deeper level because this is so necessary. I'm seeing too many amazing, excellent people who are drowning in misery because they're not living the life that is meant for them. So I made this space so that they can have a space and they can start feeling comfortable and they can start sounding crazy, but you're not going to sound crazy because anything that God tells you, it's not going to sound crazy to me. If you came to me and you said, Tanisha, God told me to move to the jungle in Bali, I'm going to believe you because it's purposeful. Someone out there has to do it. There's work that needs to be done out in Bali in the jungle. We have to realize that. God created this whole world. Do you not realize that he needs people to man and oversee certain things? So this is why that debunks the mindset of I was born here, I gotta die here. That's not your job. Your job and your calling where you're supposed to serve may not be in your hometown. It might not be in your country. This is why I'm seeing so many, and I love it. When I went to Colombia, that was the most inspiring because I met so many, and I mean young people who are younger than me because I'm young, okay? But they're in their 30s, living out the country for 2 and 3 years, living over and living down in Peru, Colombia, Mexico. I'm like, wow, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm actually working with one now. We're gonna try to get her on one morning, and if not, it will just be a special episode, and we will have like a special time. But I'm gonna have her on here because I want people to start getting these different mindsets and start seeing. Because again, it's hard to debunk what we have been taught. It's hard, and I know it's hard. It's been hard for me. It was a battle. I cried. I fought, spiritually, and the physical, because I'm like, no, I gotta stay here. And you're taking on narratives that just does not suit you, and that's just not the way it's supposed to be. So if you want to learn anything else about me, you can also go to my link tree, my books, my courses, my blog, and you can go ahead and you can connect with me as well. But tomorrow, Throwback Thursday, tomorrow you're going to get one of my throwback messages that I have been putting out for many of years. One thing I had to admit, your girl's been doing this for a while. I've been inspiring. I've been posting my messages for many years. Just got to stay consistent with it. And thank you. You all help me stay consistent between you commenting on the videos, being here live, engaging. That gives me motivation and inspiration to continue to show up and show out for you all. And I love you. So I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be in the chats tomorrow. I'll be in the chat at 7 a.m. You're just not going to see me. So don't be surprised if you see a slimmer version of Tanisha. I used to be skinny for a couple of years. Until thyroid started acting crazy. So you will probably see another version of me, but I'll be back here live with you on Friday. So let's go out here and have an amazing day. Be well, be blessed. I love you. God loves you. And until Friday, have a good one.